Hey, all right. Welcome, everybody. It is 7 o'clock Wednesday. Sci-Fi Distilled. Hello, Mary Beth. How are you?
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm living the dream. I don't know whose it is, but oh, there you go. It's 7 o'clock.
There's the 7 o'clock. The chimes are
The
telling us
chimes.
it is 7 o'clock. Hey, Dr. Alexander. Hi, Bill. How are you guys?
Yeah, that's my grandparents' old 1950s, 60s. I don't know. It's really old clock.
I like it.
Anyway,
I want to hear it chime in every show
it's
from
going
now
to chime every 15 minutes. Sorry. So anyway, so this last week we watched So You Don't Have to, and we told you not to watch. This week we're saying these are the ones you got to watch if you haven't already. And of course, if there's anything that we don't cover that you guys think we should watch, please put it in the comments because we want to watch them.
We would like to see new
there
things.
There is a lot of good stuff. We are actually living in a really good time, I think, for sci-fi, especially television. I think there's some really good shows out there, really inventive stuff. That's out there. We're gonna talk about some of them, but before we get to that, I think CBS is ready to implode. What's going on?
I got a little bit of news. Let's zip on through it. First, news number one: we are very sad to announce the death of Star Trek actor and many other things actor Kenneth Mitchell. Kenneth passed of ALS complications at only 49. He played 3 different Klingons on Disco season 1 and 2. And also Aurelio, that character in a wheelchair in season 3. He had done a ton of TV work. He was in the Captain Marvel movie. He will be missed. And, Rizzo, I know how you and I both feel about Disco, but I got to give it up. He did a really good job. Like, I know we don't like the way the Klingons looked, and I know we had criticism about Disco, but you got to give it up. He did a really good job playing 3 different Klingons on that show.
There's one thing about, whether the quality of the acting and whether the quality of the writing. Those are 2 different things. So
yeah, absolutely.
So it was ALS, so that's a Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yes.
And what are the odds that a guy named Lou Gehrig would die of Lou Gehrig's disease?
That's not
Sorry, I have to stick that in every.
Okay, that's a dad joke. That's literally a dad joke. You've officially become a dad.
Yeah, well, I've been one for 21 years plus, almost 22.
All right, moving on. Warner Brothers. Yeah, like Rizzo said at the top of the show, CBS is imploding. Warner Brothers has decided against making an offer on Paramount. Their stock has fallen 47% in last year. It's at a 52-week low. Paramount Global traded close to a 52-week low, or might have hit a 52-week low, and it announced earnings today, and earnings are... this whole situation is still in limbo, and that's literally all I have on that. However, in other business news, item number 3, and Rizzo, I'd like to hear your opinion on this. Disney has sold its physical media department to Sony. So Sony Group is going to take over doing the DVDs and the Blu-rays and the actual, all that things you can touch. Disney said it wanted to transition out of a business that's declined dramatically in recent years. However, recently people who had purchased like a digital copy of something found out they no longer owned it. They took it away because you never really truly own digital media. So I think physical media is about to make a big comeback, and I think Sony's going to make a killing on this. What do you think?
I agree. I think because of the shenanigans that they've been pulling with buying digital copies of things, that people are going to turn back to Blu-rays to have it because they'll own it. You have it. It's in your hand. You can't take it away. Don't think that they wouldn't try to put in a programming where
we'll still need
it has to have an internet connection. I can see them trying this crap, but for the most part, anything you have physically, Sony did back away. Remember now with the PlayStation store where they were going to pull certain that you bought them, but and there was a tiny in the agreement that this was. Could be taken away, but they did back down due to outrage. And I think that's the thing. I think as a society we need to push back. I noticed that this is not related directly, but it's kind of that Wendy's announced that they may go to Uber pricing. I don't know if you've heard this, where they're going to charge more for hamburgers during peak hours. So Lunchtime, dinner time, you're going to pay more for a burger.
I think we need to push back against that, or we're going to get
That kind of
fleeced.
crap
And we're already being
it's
fleeced.
gouging. It's gouging. At this
Are
point.
dealing with the so-called shrinkflation,
Yeah,
where they
that's the other thing. So I think in this case, I think that was probably a smart move by Sony. I think that the hard copy market is going to
come
be
back. I think so too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like I said, it's on that shelf. It's there. They can't take it away.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Until they figure out a way to take it away.
Bill is saying, do you remember when Sony put malware on? I do not remember that.
Well, I do. They've tried things like, you remember back in the days of VHS where they tried to, because people would just copy the VHS tape. Granted, you lose a generation in quality, but for the most part, you could dub. And then they tried to put in,
and then we were ripping CDs.
Ways to that if it was I don't know how it worked, but basically if you were trying to copy a VHS, it would make the colors and the brightness go all over the place constantly. Mm-hmm. And the problem, they had to stop doing it because some VCRs just played it that way. Like it wouldn't play it normally. So they'll always try something to try to force.
Oh, he gave us a link. Thank you, Bill. I will definitely check that out. All right, let's move on. News article number 4. And why didn't you guys tell me about this back when it happened? Voyager is turning into V'ger. The actual Voyager spacecraft, not our beloved Star Trek show. This is an older news article. This happened kind of last November, last December, but it's kind of making the rounds again. My local NPR played it, and a couple of the outlets have picked it up. Both Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 spacecraft have been kind of going awry in recent months. They both they respectively launched in August and September of 1977, making them both now nearly 50 years old, which is unbelievable. Voyager 2 was temporarily cut off from communications back in August of 2023 when an antenna accidentally got misaligned, but they seem to have gotten that sorted out again. It's Voyager 1 that is baffling scientists right now, because it is transmitting a bunch of binary gibberish. The binary code they're sending doesn't make any sense, and it's not clear why. Is it alien code? Well, probably not, and I don't mean to disappoint you. The 50-year-old probe is rapidly losing power. Its flight data system is starting to malfunction. They did try turning it off and turning it back on again, which actually is nothing short of a miracle when you're talking about Voyager, right?
Yeah.
It is the longest. They're both the longest running spacecraft still in operation in the history of space exploration.
They're also, I believe, the farthest things out.
And they are the farthest things we have.
Yeah.
And guys, honestly, right now, those things are being held together with the NASA equivalent of duct tape and chewing gum.
I don't even know. It's amazing when you consider the technology that's in there to the first place.
Yeah.
And that they're still operating.
Yes.
Even with all the cosmic stuff and radiation and micrometeors, and I know it's a very big space, but the fact that they've been running for 50 years
is unbelievable.
It's really unbelievable.
It does look like these probes are getting to the end of their natural lives, or maybe they're turning into.
I think they're way past their natural lives. I mean,
no, they actually were calculating 2030 as when power was Power was done. So it's 2024. I mean,
I mean,
right.
Yeah.
All right, number 5. My last news article for tonight, and I have a bonus. I watched it as part of my last news article. Number 5. A while back, I reported on a possible Harry Potter reboot on HBO Max, or just Max, whatever. Well, that has been given the green light, and you can expect it in 2026. They have a 10-year plan. Well, I shouldn't say 10 years. I should say 10 consecutive season plan. And there's only 7 books, so they're not sure how they're going to do it. But that's not. Here's your bonus information. Speaking of Harry Potter, if any of you were on social media this weekend, you probably at some point saw either anime kids or actual Japanese school kids running around in Harry Potter roads with wands, doing this adorable little dance and singing "Bing Bang Bang Boom," whatever that song is. And if you're like me, you looked at that and said, what the hell is that? Well, just for you kids, I found out what it is, and I watched it, so you don't have to. The dance was the second part of the second season opener of a show called Mashle, Muscle and Magic. It's an anime show that draws heavily and unapologetically from Harry Potter, with some scenes lifted directly from the Potter series. I actually don't know how they get away with it. I think they've just tweaked it just enough so that they're not committing intellectual property fraud or whatever, or copyright infringement fraud. The main character, Mashal, does not have magical abilities, but he does have very, very different abilities. He has great strength and great speed. So off he goes to their version of Hogwarts, where he attempts to do all the things the magic kids are doing, but he tries to do it through sheer brute strength and speed, often with hilarious results. I watched it so you don't have to. And my review is, if you're into anime and you're into Harry Potter, yeah, you might want to check it. Muscle and Magic can be found on Crunchyroll in both sub and dub formats. All right, Rizzo, what are we drinking tonight as we talk about some of these awesome shows?
Well, I picked a very popular drink, but I think a lot of people probably don't know about it. It's a Negroni. This is gin, Campari, and this little sweet red vermouth. Very simple drink, but it's kind of popular. I know with the millennials, I think right now. So
that particular drink's been around for a while.
Like, yeah, it's been around. It's not a new drink, but I think it's one of those kind of ones that kind of been flying under the radar. So I don't know.
Oh, hey, great choice then. Oh, Martin's here. Hello, and Dennis
pretty easy to make, and they're quite tasty especially if you just want a cocktail that's not all sugar.
Very nice, very good choice. So, all right, would you like to do TV or movies first?
Well, I don't care. I don't have any movies. Well, all I have is TV shows, so it doesn't really matter. Let's do
TV, and then
let's do TV. So I don't know. Do you want to? I'll let you go for ladies first.
Okay, so let me start with Avenue 5, and I feel like I've spoken about this one on the show.
I have seen this one.
You have seen this one. Avenue 5,
right? Is it 2 or 3 seasons?
I want to say 3. But once again, it's another one that got cut short. A lot of the ones we're about to mention tonight, guys, they got cut short. So if you don't like the dissatisfaction of not knowing what happened, don't watch. Anyway, Avenue 5, cruise ship in space, because we were just talking about the Star Trek cruise.
Yeah, we were talking about
cruise ship in space. Dry humor. It's funny sci-fi, which is kind of rare. It stars Hugh Laurie. It was on HBO.
It was on HBO. I think it's still on Max. I think you can.
I think it is still there if you want to go check it out. Dry.
Yeah, the humor takes a little bit at first. Like I watched the first episode of it, and it was like,
yeah, you either
get it, pull me in right away,
or you don't.
Yeah, but eventually you kind of watch it. Don't take it too serious.
Like, don't take it seriously. No. It's dry, kind of British, kind of that British sort of humor. Yeah. There's a point where I don't remember what happened, but the septic system got backed up, so they decided to dump all the waste out in space, and what the people are trying to
ship now. The ship just orbits the ship.
Yeah, it's just orbiting the ship. So these people are trying to have a lovely, nice dinner, and they look out the window at what should be a beautiful, space.
And the dead guy.
And it's just
shit. And the dead guy's also orbiting.
And the dead guy, that's right. There's a dead guy floating around there. It was funny, guys.
It kind of grows on you after a while. It's a slow burn.
Yeah, it is slow. But yeah, I mean, it fits. It fits this so perfectly. You might want to check this out. It is a little obscure. So many people don't know about it. And yeah, I watched it, and I think you should too, because I like that kind of
a binge. Like if you're because they're only 20. They're the episodes are less than half hour each, so you're not, they're basically
they're super short. Yeah, yeah.
So you can binge it in the whole season in a weekend or something if you're really bored or something. So my turn. Are we done with that one?
I'm not going to linger too long on any of these.
Yeah, we got a lot actually. So we were just talking also before the show how Apple TV has been really kind of kicking butt with the sci-fi shows. A lot of good ones. We've talked about For All Mankind. Another one that we've mentioned is Silo, which is based on a book. And it's basically a dystopian society that's living underground in a silo that is basically underground huge. And, of course, there are questions as to whether and conspiracies going on with the government of this silo as to whether you start to wonder because you apparently can't go up onto the surface. The earth is
go outside.
Poisoned in some way.
You can't even say
some kind of question as to whether that's true or not. And basically, it's pretty clear that they don't want people to know what's going on outside of the silo. So it's a really good show. I don't want to give too much away because if I give too many spoilers away, it'll kind of ruin it. But I really, again, recommend it. It's only got the first season, 10 episodes.
But supposedly they have been
Yeah, I
greenlit for a
believe
second
they
season.
have been greenlit for a second season. I don't know where they are in production.
I
but
don't know. I haven't heard an update.
I really highly recommend that one if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, that is a great pick. I'm gonna pick The Legend of Vox Machina. This is an animated cartoon.
Same
This
guy
was
that does
based.
Simpsons, right?
No, I don't think so.
Really, because the animation looks a lot like. It's like, I swear to God, it's Matt Groening. Are you sure?
No, I don't think
the one.
looks
It's
like
on Netflix, right?
Vox
Maybe
Machina?
I'm thinking of a different one. I might be thinking of a different one. Sorry, continue.
Oh, now I gotta look where Vox
I gotta look it
Machina
up. I'll
is
look
being-
it up. You keep talking.
All right. It's an animated series. It's a spin-off of Critical Role. Critical Role was a little Dungeons and Dragons show that was online, that was on YouTube or something, and they had like 115 episodes, and they were really well liked. So they're like, all right, let's take it to TV. And they had a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter or something for their first season. They got enough money. They launched the first season, and then they got greenlit for a second season. I haven't seen anything about third season yet, but this is Dungeons and Dragons. If you liked that Chris Pine Dungeons and Dragons movie, you're gonna love Vox Machina.
I was
It
thinking of
is
the
so
wrong
much
movie.
fun.
Wrong show.
Yeah.
Wrong show.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's fun. It's funny. It's adult content. The bard is hilarious, as bards are. And yes, even if they're in a small room, they're gonna throw a fireball. So stuff's gonna happen, and it's a hoot, and it makes you kind of miss Dungeons and Dragons. It makes you want to go play Dungeons and Dragons. But it's a talented cast doing the voices, and yeah, I cannot recommend this one highly enough. It's a really fun. They have a great adventure, but it follows like all the tropes. Like they're having this adventure, and it's just so. Legend of Vox Machina. Vox Machina is the name of their group, like the name of their little band of travelers.
Cool. All right, I have to put that one on my list because I have not seen that one.
And did we find out where it's being shown? Where was I watching?
On Prime.
Prime. Okay, I must have been watching it on Prime.
Yep. So, okay, so another show that we've mentioned here before. This one is on Netflix, and that is Arcane. This is an animated show based on League of Legends video game, very loosely based, by the way. The animation is incredibly beautiful, just gorgeous. Just watch it for the animation.
Just look at the
pretty storyline is really good. And again, I don't want to tell too much about it. It's kind of sort of fairy tale. It's sort of steampunk. It's a little bit of sorcery. I mean, it's kind of got a little bit of everything, but the story is very compelling, but it's also very beautiful to watch. It's just amazing.
Beautiful, and they have some different concepts in it that make it.
I do believe there's only one season now. I believe they do have a second season.
Yes, I heard they were getting a second season too. I think I reported on this show that they were getting a second season.
So
it absolutely, that is a great pick. That really is a great pick. That one in particular, I remember the first episode. I was just completely taken. I was like, oh my god, it looks so different from any other animation or anime that you've seen out there before.
It has a very anime feel to it, but it's not anime. It's better. It's like if anime was like taken to like another quality level.
Yes.
Like it's just, I don't know how to really put it. You'll understand.
But it's not that realism.
It's
not
art.
that hyper realism.
It's not realism, but it's definitely it's really cartoon, but it has a certain quality to it that I can't quite put my finger on. But there it is. Watch it. Watch it.
I completely agree, and that is a fabulous pick. All right, I'm going to shift gears away from animated because the past couple ones have been animated, and I'm going to go, and this is a little more well-known, but I'm going Peacemaker. I'm going there. John Cena and the rest of the crew, cast and crew, Peacemaker, and Eagly, his pet eagle. And you do not need to have seen the movies. You do not need to have seen
these are based on DC
Suicide Squad movies.
Suicide Squad, DC Suicide Squad.
Peacemaker, it's funny. It's tongue in cheek. You know you're going into a comedy. Know that going in, because this man wants peace no matter how many men, women, or children he has to kill. And and it just goes from there. And it is hilarious.
I've only seen that first episode, and I
It's-
haven't really.
See, if it didn't grab you, it's not gonna. I have to admit, this is one show that, and I don't usually laugh out loud, but this is one show that got me to laugh out loud at least once per episode, and that's rare.
enough.
That's like really rare for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Since we're on the live action, going
Yeah.
back to Apple TV, this
Yeah.
one I found by accident, and I told you about it because I was just kind of flipping and looking, and I don't know why this hasn't gotten more air time or play. Is Monarch,
Yes.
which is it's Monarch, the
Legacy of Monsters.
the Legacy of Monsters. And basically, it's Godzilla and King Kong, and it's basically a
Backstory.
kind of goes around, flips back and forth in time, but that it's all this history. They go far back to the 50s and 40s, and when these monsters started coming, being seen or whatever. And it goes back to modern times. So we have this Godzilla, literally like there's a woman in Japan, and they have air raids, but they're Godzilla raids where they all go down in the subway. And they have little signs that instead of like, this is your evacuation route, this is your little Godzilla safety
this is your
thing.
Godzilla safety.
And again, there's a government agency. We assume it's or some kind of Men in Black type agency called Monarch that has been studying and tracking and keeping records of all these monsters and things like that. But the first episode, literally the first 10 minutes of the first episode, pulls you in because it's got John Goodman running from a giant spider.
Yeah.
I mean, and
you're like,
and then that ensues into a giant spider and giant crab fighting each
yes, and then they fight. And then I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say if that doesn't get you.
That doesn't
The
get
fact that Kurt Russell and his son Wyatt both play the same character at different points in time, and
Right.
that's really cool. It's actually really cool and fun to watch.
Yeah, so
But yeah.
I haven't finished it. Mary Beth actually has.
I did. So Rizzo
It's
told me, he's
fun
like,
to
"Hey, there's
binge.
this show Monarch," and I'm like, "Okay." And
I'm
so
not
I
even
watched one
through
episode.
the whole season.
Next
but
thing I know, I had
I'm
binged
already
it. I had
hooked on it.
binged the whole thing, and I came back to him like, "Damn, that was a great."
I told, yeah,
He's like, "I haven't
where
finished it yet."
Where did this come from? I never even heard of it. I was just flipping
Me
through Apple and like their top
This-
whatever suggested things, and I'm like, what is this? And I watched the trailer. I'm like, oh, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And sure enough, yeah, it
But
was.
this is the perfect
amazing.
example of what we're talking about. Stuff that just slides under the radar that's so good and that we think everyone should check out.
Yeah. So if you like Godzilla
Monarch,
and all that
Legacy
stuff,
of Monster.
yeah, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, definitely.
And it's a prequel or a sequel. No, it's a prequel. I don't know. It does tie into the Godzilla movies.
Yeah, they make a reference to Godzilla attacking San Francisco, and that's what I was wondering if it referenced one of the recent movies, which I have not seen.
I don't think so. I think it references something that happens in show. So keep watching.
Yeah. So
yeah,
watch Monarch.
All right. Monarch, of all these so far, Arcane's a good, but Monarch's a really fun one. I said Peacemaker. I've talked about Scavenger's Reign before. You guys might like Pantheon, which is an animated 2-season show about what would happen if like the Singularity, like if you actually uploaded yourself. That's good. But I want to talk
about Scavenger's Reign, because that one was another one that I would have never caught if you hadn't.
Yeah, you know what? Someone tuned me into that, and woo, that's
a very strange animated. It's about a freighter that crashes on this weird planet,
on a strange,
and all the people are kind of scattered and
trying to survive.
Weird stuff happens,
and it is weird. It is the first TV show, and it's animated. So when something's animated, you can make it as weird as you want. So I'll give them that. But it's the first TV show I've ever seen where they actually made an alien planet alien. Like, this planet has its own ecosystem and the flora and the fauna, and they all work as an ecosystem works, like
it's
together with each other, the way an ecosystem works. But you can't make heads or tails out of how this ecosystem works just by watching this show. Plants do strange things, animals do strange things, the people are using the plant, and the entire show, it's like a mystery of like, how does this ecosystem
work? It's just these poor people trying to survive and hopefully get off this planet.
And how are they going to survive and get off?
They find out that nobody's really looking for them anyway. They've been written off already.
Yeah.
Because they were like, it's not worth going and looking for them.
Exactly. And even if this is not your thing, maybe just watch an episode or two, just give them credit for being original. It's what we wanted Strange New Worlds to be. We want something new and strange and
It was
different. And this
strange.
was it.
It was a
This
little
might
too
have
strange in some
been
parts,
a little
but
too
yeah.
strange. It's weird, but it will give you the feeling of like what it would really be like to be on an alien planet where you don't understand how things work. And I actually really appreciated that.
Yeah. So, back to me. Is it my turn?
Yeah, back to you.
So I'm going to throw one out. This is kind of and this is on the Disney's Marvel is Hawkeye, which is the Jeremy Renner story, independent story from Avengers. I really thought this was a good show. I know there was a lot of controversy over it, but yeah, it's just he basically mentors another girl. It's almost like you're setting her up for his replacement as Hawkeye.
Yeah, I feel like she's
a very talented. She saw him do something when she was a very small child as Hawkeye, and as that she started to learn archery, and she got very, very good at archery. And of course, then there's a whole series of it. But it was a good show. It was a very solid show. I felt it had a good storyline. Was it like super fantastic, amazing? No, but I think, and I might be biased because I'm a big Jeremy Renner fan.
I do too.
I just like everything he's in. So I would recommend Hawkeye. There's a lot of stuff on Disney with Marvel. Some of it's not so great. Some of it's okay. We liked Moon Knight. I thought was pretty good. It was different. I liked it because it was very different than your standard superhero kind of film. So that would kind of be along with this one. But Hawkeye being a very well-known superhero, I think they did a really good job with this one.
Yeah, and
certainly better than Eternal and some of the other Marvel shows and TV that they put out there. The other one I would put into this category is WandaVision. I know that was a little
I love
known. WandaVision was one of those ones that I started watching going, what in the hell am I watching? And then every once in a while they would sneak in something that would go catch you like, wait a minute, what's going on there?
Yeah.
And then of course, the story takes off about halfway through.
And Agatha. And it was Agatha.
Right, which I guess they're bringing her back.
And they're bringing her back. Yeah. Honestly, I have really enjoyed all the Marvel. The only ones that I was kind of like on were Secret Invasion. I didn't think that was as strong. I think it could have been stronger. And the recent one, Echo, they just kind of dumped it out with no fanfare and it was a lovely little story. And I feel like it maybe deserved a little more something, but I loved Loki. Oh God, did I love Loki. And I have really been enjoying the Marvel shows. I enjoyed What If. I know you didn't like season 2.
No, it's not that I didn't like it. I just thought season 1 was better.
See, I was okay with season 2.
I just felt season 1 was better. So, but I haven't finished them all. I still got like 3 or 4 more to go. So I don't get a lot of time to watch whatever I want when I want because I have somebody else in the room that has their choices of television and they like detective murder stuff. So I have to watch a lot of detective murder stuff. Not that it's bad, it's just not science fiction.
So our viewing audience is agreeing with you. Chris, Bill, David Alexander, and Joseph Carmody. Welcome, Joseph, to the show. All agree with your choices with the Marvel shows, particularly Hawkeye and Moon Knight. All right, is it my turn? Do I get to pick
your turn?
I've got 3 that I want to mention. And I'm just trying to, or maybe 4. My list, you guys, my list goes on and on. Maybe 5, or maybe Raised by Will, maybe 6. Okay, let me just pick.
Well, if you want, go ahead, because we got plenty of time. We only have.
Are we gonna get to movies, or are we gonna skip the movies?
I don't have any movies to do, so you do movies. Just do them.
I'll rattle movies at the very end. A lot of people knew Raised by Wolves, so I won't get too deeply into.
I did not like it. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, really?
I didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't care for it. I thought it was too bizarre. No, I didn't like Raised by Wolves at all.
All right, we'll skip Raised by Wolves.
No, I mean, if you liked it, it's fine.
Well, no, I just thought it was.
I just thought it was. I was not. It's not. It wasn't. Yeah, it was too weird.
All right, two. I'm gonna do two, and I'm gonna do them together because they came out together, and for some bizarre reason, I tended to watch them together, and I don't even know why. But they were Night Skies and Outer Range. Night Skies was the story, and you and I were talking about this briefly. A story of an older couple who they've had all these years out in their shed.
Well, they did find it, but
yeah, they found it.
They found it a long time ago.
A trap door that leads down to this room, and they've got two chairs where there was like, I don't even know what that was.
Well, it was basically they go into this room that's like a circular thing, and it's basically a transporter. It transports them to another planet where they go into this, where there's just a room with windows looking out onto an alien planet, and you couldn't see, but there was no air out beyond the so they never explored beyond this little room.
Yeah, it was like I don't want to say glass. I don't know.
But then it turns out there's like a whole global network of these things where you can go different
places. These portals that you could go to other planets. So they would just go down and sit there. They had chairs and stuff down there, and they would just go down and sit and look at this alien planet.
Yeah.
And it was,
it really was.
And you were right. That show, it was only one season. It's got Sissy Spacek and J.K. Simmons.
J. Jonah Jameson there. What's his name?
J. Jonah Jameson, yeah. And I love them both. They were fabulous. But it was so slow. Like the first episodes, it's learn
a little slow. It takes a while to spin up.
They, I don't know. They don't do it. Finally, at the end of the season, they're finally like explaining stuff, and she goes. She opens the door and goes onto this planet, and finally,
they kind of I don't want to spoil it, but they reveal some stuff, and then it's it. There's no second season.
And there's no second season. But the other one that's just like that is Outer Range. Outer Range stars Josh Brolin, and I can't think of who plays the wife, but it's about a cattle rancher who has this big honking hole. It's just this big hole in the middle, out in his thousands and thousands of acres. Like there's this hole. But it's not just any hole. It goes somewhere. It's like a portal. It connects somewhere. And that was another and really great show with a great premise that left you scratching your head every week, and no season 2.
Yeah, I'd love to know what their criteria is for how they decide what gets another season. I know they say it's so many views. I know Michael Kuda had said, it's how many times somebody rewatches a show. I think there's more to it than that. I think there's politics involved, which we had discussed. You were talking about that, as far as not politics in the sense of government politics, but within the regimes of Netflix.
Yeah, it's kind of whatever.
I think that certain shows get greenlit. Like I said, I was amazed that Another Life got 2 seasons, and one of my favorites that we're going to talk about didn't. I mean, it just it's like, what are you thinking? And I know some shows are more expensive to make than others, but let's face it, when we're talking about sci-fi shows, they're all probably most of them are going to be pretty expensive to make, period, because they're all going to have special effects.
Anyway, those are 2 shows with fantastic premises, and they're worth exploring. Even though they didn't get a second season, they're
as long as you're prepared that this is it.
Just as long as you're aware, this is it. We're going to learn what we learned, and this is it. All right, you got another good show for us?
Well, what I was getting to, which was, I brought it up before, was Netflix's live-action version of Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, yeah.
I thought this was so well done.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a fan of the original. I know there were some people nitpicking, but I mean, I thought if they had to make this, and I'm usually not a fan of, anime that goes to live action, because it never really does work that great, in my opinion. I always think it gets. But this one, I did not think got lost in the translation. I thought they did a phenomenal job with it. I think they cast it really well. They got the ships dead on. I mean, it was just so good. And then no second season.
No second season. I think the one complaint. You're right. I liked it. I thought it was great. The one complaint I did hear that might have been valid is it didn't quite capture the original animated show. Had this sense of, I don't want to say futility, existential angst, just what's it all for? Like this existential, what's it all for? And this show didn't quite capture that, but it captured everything else beautifully, and it was
Yeah,
still
I
very,
mean,
very, very much worth the
that's
watch.
kind of I mean, I don't know. I didn't really see. I mean, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but to me, that wasn't the whole show. Was that yes, there was a certain futility to his. If you watched the whole all of Cowboy Bebop, the animated thing, but I don't know if they got there. I think they were probably planning to stretch it out. You know what I'm saying? They to get to that point where he gets that way.
Yeah.
With what's her name?
Yes, that may have been that may have been true. Yes.
So, but anyway, either way, even if you, that's another one that's worth watching, especially if you like the anime version. So that's just my opinion on that one.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I did too. I really did too. But I'd love who was starring in it there.
Guy that played Sulu on the movies. I can't think of
Sulu, John. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, I can't think of his name either.
You guys know. I adored him. Actually, I thought it was really well.
Casting was good. I thought it fit really well.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Do I want to do Peripheral or do I want to do Utopia? I think I'll do Utopia. Peripheral is really good, but it didn't get a second season. Cho. Thank you, Bill. John Cho. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. I'll do Utopia because it's kind of self-contained. It's only one season, but it kind of has an ending point. This is a weird one, guys. And this is a remake of a British version. And the British version was even weirder. And what was particularly weird about this is that it's talking about like a conspiracy theory about a worldwide pandemic and it came out right when COVID hit. And it hit so close to home. It was unbelievable. But it's just this conspiracy theory show where they're following, it's comic books. They're following this comic book and they think the comic book is telling.
I did see this. I did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And it was so
you
good.
Start to describe it.
Right? And
it was a while ago, though. Yeah, it's been a while.
They're using the vaccine to make us all sterile, or they're using the vaccine to make us all, I don't remember what it was. And
to control the population or something. Yeah.
Control the population. Yeah. It was like this, ulterior motive type, but it was a little weird, kind of sick, kind of like The Boys, and there's some graphic stuff.
There was a bit graphicness to it. Yeah, I do remember this one now, and it was pretty good.
It was so clever. The only thing I didn't like is, guys, we do not need American remakes of British stuff. And this is going to shock producers everywhere. I know producers are not going to believe me when I say this, but guys, we speak English.
Yeah, there's no reason, especially
we understand
there was
what the British people are saying.
I think, I don't know why, because like The Office.
They're always like, there's cultural differences. No, we understand it's another country. We don't.
Yeah, we get it. For the most part, we get it. I mean, the funny thing is, I think what they look at, you look at The Office, which was originally a British show and became very popular in the United States. They also tried it. Remember what was the one on Sci-Fi, which was a pretty good show, which
Almost
was
Human.
Being Human, which was again originally a British show. And then I've seen both versions, the British version and the American version, and they're so almost identical. Yeah. It's why did you? There's no point in remaking this.
I mean, I could see The Office. There may be things about Office culture or American British culture that are a little bit different, but honestly, not really in the greater scheme of things. I don't know. But there's a lot of shows out there where they make the American version, and I'm always like,
well, it's like they did it with Top Gear. There was no reason to make American Top Gear.
Zero reason, because
of course they also have an Australian Top Gear.
Popular in this country.
Yeah,
they tried it with AbFab. They've tried it with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. They tried it with AbFab.
Archie Bunker wasn't All in the Family a remake of something that was on in Britain?
I don't think that one probably was. Maybe, I don't know. I'd have to look that up. But there's but my point is, back then it's okay, there wasn't a lot of stuff coming overseas, and people probably, because I worked for PBS in the 90s, and Saturday night was all those Britcoms.
Yeah.
Are You Being Served?
Yes. Hyacinth Bouquet.
What was the one that was? What was that one though? That was
called Hyacinth Bouquet. What was the Hyacinth Bouquet?
It was I can't think of the name. Are You Being Served was the department store.
Yeah, Are You Being Served was the department store.
Faulty Towers, but we all love Faulty Towers.
Yeah.
Great. As Chris is saying, Three's Company was
and all the failure was Take Off Till Death Do Us Part.
But,
guys, I don't feel we need American remakes of British shows. And this one, no, the British, you can see the British twist ending on YouTube, and it's excellent. It's excellent. I think the British ending is better than the American ending, which they slightly changed. I don't know. It's just my opinion. But Utopia, I say go watch Utopia. It is interesting, and it'll keep you interested from start to finish.
Right. Okay. So on kind of another one. This is a fun one that is on Amazon Prime. It has two or three seasons. I think 2 seasons. Called Upload. This is again kind of it's sort of a rom-com in a way, but it's good. It has some sci-fi. So basically, the premise is it's the near future, and they have invented a way to basically upload your self, your consciousness, and everything into a computer virtual environment. So the idea is that just before you die, they will upload you, and you can live forever in what they called, the place called Lakeview, which is like a big resort hotel. And depending on how much money you have, depends on how much you get. As opposed to, if you have millions, you can do whatever you want. If you don't have money, you have to pay extra for things. It's very funny, but the funniest part is the upload process literally destroys, like your head explodes.
Really?
So there's no coming back
so
from
if it doesn't work, that's it.
Like when
you're
you go
gonna die anyway, so
like
maybe
what
you
looks
don't
like
care.
a hair dryer. Remember those old 50s hair dryers over your head? And then it just goes and you're uploaded. But that's just kind of silly. That's just what I'm saying. There's a bit of tongue in cheek to this, but there's a whole conspiracy thing of course, people trying to there's a love story going on because they have these things, the people that are in the real world that are basically catering to these dead people. And there's a love story kind of that starts between two of them. They call them angels. The angels will just appear, and they're just there to help them with whatever they need in their virtual environment.
That's like a different take on Pantheon, the TV show I mentioned earlier. Yeah, Pantheon,
this is
like an animated version.
Don't take it seriously. It's funny.
Okay, so this is
funny. Okay. It's like there's a romance, thing aspect to it, and there's a little intrigue to it as far as what's going on in the background.
Martin is saying if you watch Upload, the Lakeview outside shots are of the place I live and work at, Mohawk Mountain House.
There you go.
That's awesome.
There you go. That's a very beautiful place. You're very lucky.
It is beautiful. Yeah.
So I would recommend it. It's a good show. It's a fun show.
I might enjoy that better than I like Pantheon. Pantheon was heady. Like it was a heady, because then the people who had been uploaded, they started fighting because they realized they could literally control the planet. They can control Earth, and they start fighting amongst themselves. And then the people who are still alive or on Earth,
this was like just the opposite. In fact, one of the funnier parts of Upload is there's people that they call them the 2 gigs or something, and they only get so many gigabytes a month of data that they can use. So they're generally sitting in a white room with just a very plain, everything's very plain. They don't have any extras because they don't. Yeah,
it's not like The Sims where you've
so as opposed to there's a guy who the Koch brothers. You've heard of the Koch brothers, the very rich guys that control half this country. There's a guy that's supposed to be one of the Koch brothers, and of course you open his door to his room, and it's like all of a sudden there's like this giant mansion. Like with gardens and everything in that space because it's virtual, doesn't matter. So he's living in this giant mansion that's just a room in Lakeview. Yeah. It's kind of funny.
That's awesome.
So of course
that is awesome. So it is a little Sims-esque.
There's a lot of funny things going on there. So it's a really fun show. It's on Amazon Prime. I recommend watching it if you want something. And
before I switch, I'm gonna rattle off some movies. But before I do, I'm gonna do one more TV show, and that's gonna be Gen V. If you like The Boys. Which I do.
On here.
I love The Boys. I can't wait for season. Where are we at? 4?
Yeah.
It should be coming. 5.
Something like 4. That. It's got. I thought it usually comes out in the summertime, so we're way past.
Yeah, so it should be coming. This is and they started mentioning V. V is this drug that's used to create these super powered people. Gen V is a spinoff where parents are giving their kids this drug at birth to create these, and this is like their college, but it's the boys all over. It's every bit as like weird and graphic, and they're getting into it. We see Ashley, one of my favorite characters on The Boys is Ashley, this poor beleaguered girl who's like the secretary. I don't even know what she's, executive assistant at what the hell's headquarters? I can't think of the name now. Anyway.
I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, a number of the boys' characters do make cameos, including Homelander. It is the kids running around trying to figure shit out, and trying to people get killed and stuff happens. It's not light and funny and goofy. Just because they're in college, don't think it's going to be like Muppet Babies. No, it's just like slightly lighter. It is slightly lighter, but it's just like the boys. It's more the boys. And I actually really, really enjoyed it. And I didn't think it would, because I was like, oh God, college kids running around. Is it going to be like, One Tree Hill or whatever,
Right.
Dawson's Creek? Is it going to be bullshit? No, not bullshit. It was fun. It was fun. And I recommend it. And if you like the boys, you will like Gen V.
And that kind of slides me into what another one, which was Invincible, which is kind
Yes,
of,
excellent,
it
yes.
almost seems like it's based on that universe, but it's not. But it's a
Almost.
superhero universe. There are multiple superheroes.
Yes.
But there's again one guy who again is that our friend, the guy from
it's J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, he does the voice there
Jameson Jonah.
from State Farm, not State Farm.
What insurance?
Farmers
does Simmons
insurance
do?
guy.
Farmers? We are farmers.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah. So anyway, not sponsored. By the way,
Vought. Sorry, Vought Tower. My bad. Keep going.
Yeah. So anyway, so basically, he's a superhero from another planet, and we start out with the first season is him like, even though he's been a superhero on Earth for a long time, he all of a sudden comes into like what's the equivalent of the Justice League and like kills them all.
Yeah.
And that's like
Just
the
suddenly
first
up,
episode.
and all the people he'd been working with for years, he just suddenly
he just kills them all. So
it is graphic. It gets a little graphic.
it's a very graphic cartoon. It's animated, but it's a pretty good one. So
and then his
that's
son
also
is
on
left
Prime.
to
I give
find
it.
out why.
There's two, like 1.5 seasons because the second season is short. It's not like full. Like there's 8, 9
Yeah, I guess
episodes,
it
and then
was
like the second
shorter.
season is like 4 episodes.
Oh, but there was a movie. I think they did
There's
like
a movie.
weird
Well, there was the
movie.
one film for one of the characters, Adam Eve.
Yeah.
That her kind of
And I didn't
backstory for
care.
that
I was like,
one.
okay, what is she doing? I don't know. I don't care. I'm just interested in this guy and his son.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Did you get to the scene where him and the son are
I've
fighting and
watched
he
it all.
beats the
Yeah, I
out
watched
of his
it
son?
all.
Like
He
they're
beats the
just
crap, yeah.
and they're superheroes, so he's like slamming them against mountains and stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
just unbelievable.
Yeah,
It's
so
very
I
much
would
The Boys,
recommend-
only The
I would
Boys
recommend if you like, especially if you like The Boys, you'll like. I think you'll
Yeah.
like Invincible. So.
All right, let me rattle off, and I won't spend hardly any time on this. I have to. This is just mandatory. I have to say this. Vast of Night. So I'm going to do some movies. Vast of Night. I love that show.
I think
I
you
don't know why I
mention
love
at
that
least
movie.
once every other.
You got to watch
show.
it once a year at Halloween. If you also like UFO stuff, but it's a little bit Cosmos. Cosmos came out the same year, 2019. It's also available on Amazon Prime, and it's about these guys who are like working for SETI, and they're out in the woods in a truck at night or a van, and they've got their equipment, and they're just trying to look for a signal. And most of the movie, like 75 to 80% of the movie, is them in that van in the woods at night. And then they find the signal, and the end of the movie is kind of what happens. It's also a very good movie.
Well,
you were talking about Adam Project, and I was talking about Free Guy, both Ryan Reynolds movies.
Ryan Reynolds movie, yeah. Adam Project was pretty good. That's kind of a time travel thing going on there. It's a I think it's a family friendly movie, so you can like watch it with kids of
Both,
moderate age, not little kids, but like
Free Guy has some cursing in it, but yeah, they're both pretty.
I think the Adam Project was geared towards family, kind of definitely sci-fi, like it's a time travel. It's worth a watch, even if you're not watching it with kids or anything. I think it's a fun movie overall. So
let me just
if you like Ryan Reynolds, I mean, I'm one of those ones I'll watch almost anything with Ryan Reynolds.
I will too. I will too. I'm so pumped for Deadpool 3.
Yes.
All right. A recent release, No One Will Save You with Julia Roberts. It shows a very interesting depiction of a sonic attack, which is fascinating. An older movie, Safety Not Guaranteed. A girl sees this ad in the paper, like, hey, we're going to go time travel. I need someone to come time travel with me. Safety Not Guaranteed. And it's a little bit slice of lifey. Melancholia is a fascinating, if you want to be depressed or melancholy, it's got Kirsten Dunst and another planet is coming and going to crash into Earth, and it's the end. It's just Warm Bodies is it's a rom-com. It's a zombie romantic comedy. It's really fun. Cirque du Freak. I've mentioned Cirque du Freak on this show a number of times. It's got O'Reilly. The hell is his name? John C. O'Reilly? John C. O'Reilly. And it's vampires. It's light, fluffy, funny kids, vampires, and Dracula and stuff like that. Nope. I love Nope. That's not really obscure, though. You've all heard of it, but I love Nope. Asteroid City is another one that kind of came out recently. That is a like, what's his name? Who does the Royal Tenenbaums and those movies? The Pineapple, not what the hell's his name? I'll Google it. Asteroid City, I recommend it. And Spiderhead is a really different one.
What the hell's his name? Zeth. He's one of the Zeths, right?
Hang on, I'll look it up really super fast. Wes Anderson. If you like Wes Anderson slice of life movies, Asteroid City is really cute. It's got an alien that comes down and he just it's really cute. You'll like it. And then finally, Spiderhead is a Chris Pine? No, it's a Hemsworth. It's one of the Hemsworths. And it was
I saw the trailer for that. Looked really weird.
It was really weird. You should check it out. That's why I watched it so you don't have to. And I'm thinking maybe you should.
I don't know. We kind of watched the trailer for it, and I'm like, I don't know about that one. It looks really weird.
It's okay. It's different. It's different. It's very different. All right. So that's my movie list. Are there any other TVs or those movies you want to talk about? Are there any other TV shows that you want to circle back to?
Oh, God. Well, I mean, one of the ones, and I think this is not really that obscure, and I think everybody knows about it and everybody's heard about it. But if you haven't watched it or you don't have maybe HBO Max, it's worth almost paying for a month just to watch The Last of Us.
Yeah, I agree.
Just an excellent, but of course, based on the game of the same name, holds very accurately to the game story, with dialogue almost too in accuracy, keeping accuracy. So, and it's not The Walking Dead.
No, yeah,
so
it's different.
If you're familiar with it, it's really about. Yeah. That's just kind of the environment that they're in, but it's really about their interactions with different people. And I can't wait. I know they're getting a second season, obviously.
Yes.
Just can't wait for it. It's so good. It's of course, it's got our good friend, the Mandalorian. Excuse me.
And he also did a movie. He did Mandalorian that year. He did Last of Us that year. And he also did Prospect, a movie about going prospecting, basically going to another planet.
Father-daughter, but he's not the father again. But that one is on, I want to say, Netflix.
I think so too. He played the kind of the bad guy in Prospect. He was having a year. I tell you what, Pedro was having a year last year.
He was going to be in too. I forgot that they just said he's.
Oh, is he going to be in Fantastic Four? Maybe. There's rumors about him maybe being in Fantastic Four. So I will address that next week in my news segment when some of the stuff gets confirmed.
That is everything jotted.
I might mention The Peripheral. Did you at all see The Peripheral? It's a show about they put on these headsets. They're like, and they go in. You embody an alt in another time. I don't know. Whatever. It got canceled. So
Martin.
No second season. So, but it was interesting. It had an interesting premise.
I'm not familiar with The Good Place, Martin, or The Quiet Place too. Not familiar with either of those, so you'll have to give us a synopsis. The names sound familiar, but I have not seen them. So okay. Chris LaRoche is saying rumors is he's going to be Reed Richards.
Rumors he's going to be Reed Richards. I will talk about that in my news.
Please, if you're going to do another Fantastic Four movie, don't make it suck. I mean, it just. The first one they did, I should say the first of the modern ones they did with Jessica Alba. The first one wasn't that bad.
Yeah, and Chris Evans as Reed Richards.
It wasn't that bad. But then the second one, the Silver Surfer one, wasn't really good. And then that other thing where they just.
That's what they were joking about the Deadpool movie, because Deadpool's going to go around and they're like, so is he going to go around and is he going to find Chris Evans as Reed Richards instead of as Captain America?
The funny, we watch those pitch meeting. There's a guy on YouTube that does this channel.
His name is What's the pitch meeting guy's name?
And he always does these pitch meetings for
watch
you
pitch
know,
meeting.
if this was to be the pitch meeting for these movies, and of course, it always makes the movie sound really stupid. And I just watched the one, and I sent you the one for what's the Web Woman? What's the one that just came out? Web Girl or
Madam
something?
Web.
Madam Web. There you go.
Ryan
that one
George.
was so funny
Guys,
because
Ryan
basically
George
he hit it right on the nail. I mean, it was just like, oh, it has something sort of to do. It's kind of Spider-Man adjacent. Sure, we're gonna green light that. Anything with Spider-Man.
If you ever hear me say we need it for the movie to happen, that's where I got that.
Yeah,
like a plot point that makes no sense. We need it for the movie to happen. All right,
it's gotta happen.
Wow.
So, right.
Wow.
So yeah, so if you that one, if you watch Madam Web.
And super he's the other thing he says is super easy, barely. Wow, that's a really big trouble. You got those characters, and how are you gonna get them out of that trouble? Oh, super easy, barely an inconvenience. They're just gonna, and it's always something like, oh, they're just gonna. And the other thing I say a lot is, oh, I'm gonna need you to get all the way off my back about that.
Yeah.
It's so good. Go watch. We should do underrated stuff on YouTube.
Especially when the movie's we already know the movie's bad. Like Madam Web has been getting just panned. Oh, all over the place because it just doesn't make.
I'm surprised he has it out this quickly.
And he did one, and he just nailed it. As far as because it's true, you could just see anything else. It's got something to do with Spider-Man. Yeah, we'll green light that.
Yeah, we'll green light that.
Spider-Man. I mean, because you know what we need is another Spider-Man movie. Just not enough Spider-Man.
It's Spider-Man adjacent.
We need to reboot it again.
All these women will eventually become Spider.
Yeah, all these people will eventually
someday,
become Spider-Man.
But not right now.
Yeah.
So she needs to teach him CPR real quick. Good thing she taught him CPR because they needed to use the CPR. Like he just skewers all these plot points, and the problem is he's right.
He's right. Oh, he's dead on. He's dead on. That's what I said. So if you ever just go on YouTube, look up pitch meeting. Tons of them for every movie, pretty much every popular
Star
movie.
Wars, all of it. Star Trek's, all of it.
Yeah, they do. He nails it though. He really nails it.
That and how this is some funny ones. How it should have ended, and the honest trailers. Like if the trailer was really telling you the truth about this movie, those are funny too. So
yeah. So anyway, well, it is almost 8 o'clock. So we should. Any last mentions? I know we had you guys mentioned a few. Well, I'm trying to look through the comments. I saw a few of those that we did mention.
You guys were mentioning some.
Yeah. So, but feel free to post them on the Facebook page. Obviously, guys, if you see something,
yeah, we're willing to watch.
We're always willing to watch.
Check out new stuff. We like to find new stuff. Phil is off next week, but tonight, soon. Roy will be on. So will you hang up from us? Go over to Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi, and he's going to do an interview with Jeffrey Morris as Jeffrey talks about his new movie or his new documentary, The Eagle Obsession, about the 1999 spacecraft. So go hang up from us and go check out Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi.
Cool. So next week we are gonna. I don't know if we're gonna do a whole month of this. Tell us if you want to do a month of this or just one show. But I call it movies we hate to love. So for me, basically they're bad movies, but we watch them anyway because for some stupid reason we like them, even though we know they are bad.
We like them. And we've done a variation of this before, but we'll do it again. And let me give you an example. For me, I might pick Krull. Do you guys remember Krull? Back in the day?
That was the 80s. That was when 80s Sword and Sorcery was very popular.
Yeah,
I remember Krull with the thing. So anyway, that's what we're doing. You got it was Roy's doing. I don't know what else to tell you. If anybody is in the area of Friday night of UNH, the University of New Hampshire, go to the hockey game. I'll be there with the Rebel Legion in my X-Wing outfit.
Yeah, so, I don't think you ever said on the show that you have been officially accepted.
I have been officially accepted to Rebel Legion, which is the adjacent to 501st. That's the next project is getting officially, but they're really kind of the same organizations. Just one's Rebels and one's Empire. So anyway, yep. So I'll be there. Just embarrassing my daughter who goes to school there. So. Actually, I think she's not even going to be around that day. So, all right, guys. On that note, I will say good night. Live long and prosper, and watch all this stuff I've told you. We've told you.
It's all good. We promise.
Watch it all. It's all
good.
good stuff. All right. Good night, guys. See ya.
Bye.